All right, at 6 o'clock, I am going to call the meeting to order. All board members are accounted for. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Jeff, do you have any additions for the agenda?
I do not.
I'm just gonna make one small little change, and we're gonna pull around the horn up from the very end and just put that right before our closed session. So with that small little change, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Pete on the motion.
I'll second.
Jolene on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, scheduled presenters. Mr. Sampson is going to go over the calendar survey results that we directed from last meeting.
Yes, so the survey was open for around 2 weeks, I believe, and we sent a reminder about halfway through the survey timeline, and the survey results came back as 53.5% prefer the pre-Labor Day start, which is 2 weeks early, and there was 361 responses to the survey. That's my presentation. Pretty quick and simple.
Good response, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought 361 was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Right, and I actually think we would have done that more. That's why I was gonna make a note for the next time if we do a survey like this. I had a couple people come up to me and say that they wanted to participate, but they didn't care either way. So if we would have had a spot that said,
I don't care.
yeah, then that would have shown that there would have been possibly some more people.
Interesting.
So I found it.
Did they choose not to participate then, or did
Yeah,
they?
because they didn't want to pick one way or another, because they said it didn't matter to them. So, I don't know if there was other people like that, but I would just say that there was 2 different people that actually did come up to me and say that, so,
That's pretty good.
yeah. So, great presentation. All right. We will move on to public input. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the board?
I would like to speak. I would just like to speak on, coming from, I have a daycare background. I did in-home daycare for 6 years, and I taught preschool for 4 years prior to that. And I just wanted to give a little bit of like my thoughts on you guys starting this daycare and stuff in town. I'm a little concerned. The program we have is very good that we have in place, and I'm concerned. I understand there's a need for more daycare, but I don't know if what we're doing is going to fix that need or make it worse. I'm concerned us opening more childcare is going to take business away from in-home daycares, because they can only have so many children under the age of 3. They kind of rely on preschool children to make money. So already they're losing a lot of kids to our preschool program because they're choosing to send kids here instead of like in-home daycares. And then the centers, what they struggle with is staffing, because they can't pay enough money to keep like paras and staff there. So that's kind of why they can't take more younger kids in, as they can't afford to pay what it takes to hire people and keep them in those positions. Having done those jobs, it's extremely demanding. It's a ton of work. The burnout is really high. And so a lot of people leave and go work at Sam's Club because they get paid more and it's way less stress. So I'm concerned if the centers already can't find staff, like how are we gonna find staff and how are we gonna be able to staff that? So just some concerns I have. I'm also worried that our school is, instead of being an elementary school, is gonna be more of a childcare. And I know a lot of staff are also concerned about that. Just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? All right. We'll close public input. We will move on to school board committee reports. Does anyone have anything that they would like to share with the board?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was at a staff development meeting this morning, or this afternoon, and it sounds like they're plugging away with all their requirements and updates, and I'm not sure what more there is to add, except they are on track.
I just wanted to give, I had an Ed Foundation meeting earlier this week, and I just wanted to give, or last week, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Ed Foundation. They do amazing stuff, and it's also a shout out to the community because we have some good donors in our community, and then the Ed Foundation is able to give back. We'll see in the resolution of gifts what was given in the meeting, so I won't detail that out, but they're moving forward with a new playground behind our elementary school, and that's exciting stuff as we do have a few kiddos down there that have wheelchairs, and the accessibility needs are changing amongst kids, and so we're looking at that, and they're helping with that large project. So that's exciting. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and let everyone know, and give a shout out to the community as well, because the donations coming in are what's fueling those projects, and it's fun to see the support for the school for sure. And then I've also had a few community ed meetings, but we'll go through that on the agenda item later on.
Anything else from anyone?
I would just, a little bit out of my lane here, because I'm not on the committee, but the PTO carnival a couple weeks ago was a good, I don't think we've had a meeting since, but it was a good turnout, and I was blown away by the, kind of to Ronnie's point, the amount of silent auction items that were there for people to bid on, and I don't know where the numbers fell for that group, but good participation. I think it's fun to get families together, even though we're all super busy doing other things, but it's good to get the community together.
We had our WeTech meeting last week, just an organizational meeting, talked quite a bit about device purchases, so they've gone up, coming this year will be 45% increase due to the technology demand. So Aaron, our director, has been very ahead of the game by buying ahead of time, and they keep the inventory, and then they'll deploy them to our schools as needed. So it was quite a shock to hear, and you buy a device, we get them below open market, so we're paying a discounted rate, but to see that percentage increase was huge. So we'll save quite a bit of change coming this year, how the final numbers as we deploy our assets. But wild to see the impact of cost of devices going up.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to consideration to approve the finance report. Josh?
Now, we get into a less exciting time in terms of the finance for the district now. I've gone through budget revision and audit and whatnot, so this is really kind of the general operational ins and outs for the next couple months until we hit the end of May, when we get more of the first half of the property tax. So what you see here is just kind of cash flow where we're at right now, the checking account balance. The one thing I would just keep highlighted on there until we have the final check off on it would be the last payment for the secondary roof payment. It's just the retainage. We'll just keep pushing that down until we have it finalized, and then we'll make that payment. As part of that project too was some of that resurfacing the tennis court, and we'll be in trying to get that lined up for this spring or summer as well, to have that corrected. It was not completed satisfactorily last spring, so we still have some work to do on that, but that's all within that building construction fund still until we close that all out. Otherwise, it's just the normal ins and outs, payroll liabilities. Ideas would be the payments coming to the district from the state of Minnesota. If you have any questions, I can do my best to answer.
On the tennis courts, we haven't paid anything.
No.
Right, and then, I know you said spring, summer, we anticipate it'll be done for fall tennis.
Yeah, that's the plan. I know that Steve has been working with a couple of vendors to make sure that when the spring comes, we have some solutions in place to take care of that.
Sweet, thank you.
All right, any other questions? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the finance report.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Rondi on the motion, Jolyn on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted under one motion. In the event a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be removed from the consent agenda for separate action. Jeff, could you read the resolution of gifts, please?
Yes, before we do that, because this is part of the consent agenda also, one of the items on the consent agenda also is a retirement from Sue LePan that I want to call attention to. Sue has been in teaching completely for 37 years, with 22 years just in Cannon Falls here. So we want to thank Sue for her time and energy, not only in Cannon Falls, but also in the field of education over those years. 37 years is a very good run.
Yeah.
of
It's
teaching.
impressive.
So, congratulations to Sue.
Congrats, Sue.
Yeah.
For the resolution for gifts, Rondi actually mentioned that earlier. There's quite a few on here from the Ed Foundation, but also from other contributing factors in the community. The first one is for $1,000 from BTV, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on BTV. Anybody?
Bomber dance team.
No.
BTV.
That's-
The other way.
BTV. It's $1,000 for robotics, and so I apologize to BTD if I'm still drawing a blank on that. Hopefully that comes to me later. But $4,000 from the Cannon Falls Band Booster for the music department. $101.95 for CF Housing Initiative for the construction class. $100 from Create Sunshine for dance. $1,300 from the Ed Foundation for an author visit for pre-K through 5 for Mrs. Kopp. $1,820 from the Ed Foundation for a Twins game, college prep day, 9 through 12 for Ms. Schwady. $1,937.52 from the Ed Foundation for a focused movement chairs in 5th grade for Ms. Rezak. So thank you again to our generous donors this month.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, it's huge.
All right, no one has anything further. I'd look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Jody on the motion.
Second.
Luke on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to administrative board reports. We will start off with Lily.
Do you want me to stand or am I good?
Whatever
I was like,
makes you comfortable.
Oh, I don't care. Yeah, I got a little bit of stuff about this week. Basically in the high school, it's National FFA Week. We start National FFA Week because last week, I think Friday, February the 19th, was George Washington's birthday. So we celebrated it the week afterwards. So that's super fun in the high school. I know middle school during lunch this week had, I think they're doing like rodeo and just stuff that's run by FFA. The blood drive is tomorrow, so through MHS we're holding that up on the PLC day, which should be super good. I know a lot of the spots are already filled, so it should run really smoothly. I know last one went really well, and I think basically the whole school is just super excited for spring break, so we're really looking forward to that. Academically, we got midterms this week. I know a lot of teachers getting stressed for that because, I mean, it's their time to put those grades in, so we got lots of big tests, lots of stuff like that. I know Ms. Hoffman keeps going around to people and asking us about our ACTs for this spring, so that's a big thing for the juniors. Otherwise, for sports, I know winter sports, we got wrestling. We had 4 people go up to state for that. Weightlifting, we have over 10 people going to state, which is hosted at home, which is wonderful if you guys would show up, and basketball on Thursday. So that should be very good, close to the winter sports. For Math League, I know they did not end up making it academically to state, but they got an invitation. It's just the way that the Math League works, so they'll be doing really well for that. Robotics, they had their first, it was like an open invitational this past weekend, and I mean, it didn't go as well as they had planned, but it worked out in their favor, just trying to get an eye for how this new season will go for them. The lantern, I know Amy had gotten so they have the snow, which is where all of their lantern articles go through, and I know that she got nominated for a really high article through snow, which was just really well done for her. SAD this week had put up posters, which are a few weeks ago, throughout the school. And those look really cool, and I know lots of students are ready for our spring sports, getting ready for that sunshine and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I got.
Excellent.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lily.
Mr. Strauss, anything that you would want to add to your report?
Just one of the comments I had on there was about the student teaching event that I went to at Winona State last week, and it went well. The vibe though at that event, so I've been going for 4 or 5 years now, twice a year, once each semester. And I remember the first time I went down, there was a lot of candidates and it was packed. And this time the vibe, there was maybe half the amount. And I talked with an elementary principal from Winona, who I know and who was there as well, and she was saying that she serves on Winona State's College of Education board of something or other. And she was saying that just in general, the college education is smaller now than it has been in decades as far as people going into the profession. So I think it's important that we keep trying to do things like go to that, reach out to other people, because I mean, it's been successful for us having student teachers and then employing some of them now. But it's also just important, I think, to try to get people interested in working in education and working here, because it's very different from even 4 or 5 years ago with the amount of candidates that were there. So just something I wanted to throw out there.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hodges, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to stress, next Tuesday, we're hosting the Future Forward Career College and Job Fair again. And I know several of you have been to that. That runs from 9 o'clock to noon. I think I put the wrong times down in my report, so it doesn't go till 1. 9 to noon. So if you can come, it's kind of a neat thing. We'll have over 1,000 students from Southeast Minnesota here. I think they've got over 100 vendors coming again. It's a pretty cool showcasing of our school. We were also randomly chosen to give the NAEP test to our 8th graders, so that happens to be on exactly the same day. So lucky us. And so I don't know how much I will be at the College and Career Fair because I am the point person for that here at this.
And can you explain what that test is?
Yeah, it's the National Assessment of Educational Performance, I believe, and it's given every 2 years. I believe it's given to 4th, 8th, and 11th graders, I think. And it's reading or math. So we have, they choose 50 students in any of the sites, so we have 50 of our 8th graders that are doing a combination of math and reading.
And that's a random 50 chosen?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So,
random school, but. we
Yeah.
seem to
random
always-
schools, yes. Randomly. We get randomly chosen a lot.
Like, when I was the high school principal in Medford, we had random math 8th grade
Yeah,
about every other year.
yeah. So,
What happens
we
with
have
those
not given the
results?
NAEP for quite a few years. It's been, I think, one other time since I've been here, we've done it, so. One other thing, I will get names for you as soon as some of these students actually go in and fill out the application. But we were informed by the College Board that we have 8 students that will receive some type of commendation for PSAT for us all. So,
Wow.
when I look back in my notes, the most I can see that we've had before is 3, so it's a
Oh.
pretty remarkable result.
Awesome. Smarty Pants seniors, huh?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Reed, anything you'd like
Yep,
to add?
just wanted to highlight 3 quick things. First of all, congratulate Bucky Lindo on being nominated for National Coach of the Year. Tremendous honor just to be nominated for that. That'll be figured out here in July. As Lily had mentioned, we did have 4 wrestlers advance to individual state tournament this weekend. New format this year, goes over 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Garrett Williams, Owen Pierce, Griffin Peterson, and Tristan Zingler, and finalizing some details for our state send-off for Wednesday afternoon. And boys basketball does host PEM on Thursday at 7. We're at that time, we're at section games, so no passes, and everything goes up a little bit. Adult tickets will be $10, and students will be $5. So just wanted to highlight those pieces.
Reed, when they do the send-off, is it during school hours, or is it, yeah? Does the whole school get to participate in some sort of the send-off?
Does the whole school get to part?
Like the students?
Yes, yeah, we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it, so we do the U with the band
Yep,
up here.
okay.
and then we go down to the elementary or vice versa, whatever it
Okay.
is, and we play the rouse, so the pep band, or the band plays the rouser, walking through the U of the, that's middle school and high school hallway, and then we go down and, we'll play the rouser over the phone, and then they do the whole elementary.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good
fun.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Reed. Mr. Johnson, anything that you'd like to add to your report?
So radon tests, that's every 5 years, those came back, everything looked great. No need to further that any, so that's good news, no radon. We are
Should we
winding.
clap?
We're winding down on inside stuff, so that's also good. We should clap for that though. So we'll get less busy in here. I say that, but I laugh too because it also does rain here in Minnesota. So we often, our outside stuff becomes inside stuff then, and it's a scramble. So it's almost more stressful knowing that, you know, they might be in here. Other than that, hopefully this weather holds out a little bit. I'm sick of it. We're over the snow here, and all the nice icy, snowy stuff. Yeah, that's about all I got. Like Lily said, state weightlifting's 2 weekends. Gonna be it's a good show here. I came to it last year, and it's pretty impressive that we can host a state event, right?
Yeah.
I think it's impressive, like when schools host the section events, you know, coming from a wrestling background where we're all stuck at the Civic Center in Rochester. So for us to be able to hold a state event it's a true honor, like for me to be able to host a state event, being the facilities director here. So I just feel like the community should back that, you know, quite a bit, and, you know, come out and support these weightlifters, because it is that forgotten sport in the wintertime, I feel like. So that's a really cool honor, and, you know, we don't always get to do this, so let's soak it in while we can. Before Moorhead, I feel like they're the next ones on board to do this, so before they take it away from us, let's get some people in the stands and rock it out for the last weightlifting state meet here for a while. Other than that, that's about all I got.
All right, well, hats off to your crew. You guys have had lots of events here over the last month or so, and nothing but good reviews, and lots of people coming through our doors, so.
Yep.
I mean, between what, you go back to alumni tournament, and then all the different volleyball tournaments and basketball tournaments, and then we got career fair coming up, and that's a lot of different things, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd add to that too, thanks to you and your crew on creating more parking space on the northwest side of the building there. I think where we used to have the containers, I think it opens up some more parking. I think that was a pain point for some people, and it allows people to, when it's cold, to park a little closer and get in there, and I think it just, little things like that go a long way, so thanks for doing that.
All right, Soup's report.
Yeah, other than the things I have listed there, I wanted to remind everybody the legislature is in session right now. It is a bonding year, so I'm not expecting too much in the realm of any additional dollars. I'll be shocked actually if they add anything to the formula this time around. I won't be shocked if they add any new policy language that usually comes out for unfunded mandates, and so we'll try to keep you abreast of that. But I think the biggest thing is that they're wrestling with right now is the cross-subsidy piece and the compensatory piece as well. So there may be some, hopefully they get something resolved with that, but I'm not too hopeful.
Is that all?
That is all I got.
Move on to action items. No old business, let's move into new business. Item number 1, consideration to approve the 26-27, 27-28, and 28-29 calendars.
So, as you saw at the beginning of the meeting, the survey results came in at 53.5%, and the board, I believe, in their initial meeting talked about that 50% plus 1 for approval on that, and so I just wanted to remind you of where that piece was. Also keep in mind that this is an application process to the state that we have to go through. And so I will make an application to the state. So this process, once you approve it, isn't completely 100% yet until the state gives their final blessing on that. We've met the criteria for holding the public meetings. One of the things that I was remiss in was apparently the state is asking for 3 years worth of calendars instead of 2 years. I guess I've always assumed it was a 2-year process, but it is 3 years. And so I do apologize for that, but the third calendar is the same as the first 2 calendars, just shifted by the day. So it still has the 2-week early start and the spring break as the big pieces of it. So.
Do you know what the typical turnaround time is for the state to approve?
They give you 45 days, they tell you. So once I make the application, which should be either tomorrow or the next day, it'll be 45-day turnaround. They give themselves a self-imposed deadline. So that's, I know, that's awfully nice of them.
And would there be a reason why they wouldn't approve it?
I can't think, I mean, we would probably take, I'm using some example applications that other schools have used
Okay.
in that process, so I'm sure why they would turn us down.
All right.
All right. As Jeff stated at the last meeting, we said that we were going to approve it if it was over 50%, which it was. So I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Joanne on the motion.
I'll second.
Luke on the second. Any other discussion?
I just would add one thing, because it was frustrating me with conversations when I was chatting with people, and a lot of it was around spring break and what that looked like, and the comment to me over and over again was, we don't want to be told by the district when we're gonna go on vacation by having a spring break, and it got to the point where I just want people to understand that the spring break is for students and teachers to have a break, not for your personal family vacations necessarily. If you can go on vacation, that's fantastic, and
We've always excused families going on
yep,
vacation.
and I'm happy that you can do that, but the thing is, most people don't go on breaks or don't go on vacations during that time, and they just flat out need a break. And my conversations with administration have been, it's a long stretch, and it's important to give all students and all teachers a break, not just the ones that are lucky enough to go on vacation. So once I explained that to people, I think they understood, but it was frustrating at times, so.
Well, that's where, I mean, first semester you have all those natural breaks with all different holidays and whatever else, but like, yeah, that stretch from February basically on it's a long stretch, so.
Yeah, I mean, spring break is about the only day off in there for those 3 months, so I think, yeah.
Yep, you got
Staff and
President's Day,
students.
and I think
It's a great break.
And Lily even said that students are really thinking about looking forward to that, so I think that says a lot.
And we have some clubs and some sports that utilize that as well to take their trips, so.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Item 2, consideration to approve the 25-26 spring coaching list. Reed, anything you want to add to that?
Very little turnover, which is great, so consistency and continuity within those programs. And I recommend approval.
Well, I'd just like to make a comment that I'm just happy we're sitting here before a season begins, quite a few weeks, and we have all the spots filled, right? Are we?
Correct.
So I'm reading it.
Correct.
Okay.
There may be some additions with.
I'm just saying, your
golf.
pause made me start wondering.
That's why I said there may be some additions with boys golf, but,
Okay.
and maybe 1 or 2, talking with Jeff Kiffmeyer with Clay Target for some additional members, but as of now, we should be good.
All right.
It's great.
Thank you to all those people for stepping up to the plate.
Yes.
All right, I look for a motion to approve the 25-26 spring coaching list.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Luke on the motion, Pete on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Consideration to approve the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of an out-of-field licensure and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year.
So these next 6 items relate to licensing and the process that we have to follow for licensing rules in the state of Minnesota. And for people that are not only tier 1, but also out of field licenses, we do have to non-renew those teachers and then advertise their position to see if we can find licensed people. There is still the possibility that these people will be back with us. And so this is not anything to do with disciplinary or anything like that, it's just part of the process. And so with each of those, we'll have to take these one at a time. And the first one on the list is Lauren Emerson.
I have one question, Jeff, before we, or maybe, is this the right time to ask a question?
Sure.
So we go through this process, right, and then the application goes out, or the posting goes out. Are we, if someone applies that is licensed in the field, can we not hire, do we have to not hire the person we've had in our building, even if they're working towards?
That's getting too far in the weeds for me. I don't know if
Sure.
the principals have more information on that. It really depends on if you have a person that isn't licensed yet, I think it's open, right? Because even though if they're in a program, there's no guarantee that they would finish that program
Sure.
if you would hire them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do have somebody that is licensed, then it's my understanding that you do have to hire them. Or is there a process that you have to go through, you have to do a lot of explaining if you don't hire them?
Correct. We don't have to hire them, we have to interview them and give a reason why. Because those people that have the out-of-field placements, we'd have to reapply for that out-of-field placement, and that's a question on that application. If a teacher's in a program, then they wouldn't be on this list. Because they would have a different tier of licensure.
And we wouldn't have to go through this process?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question.
Are we allowed to post so many times for that role for, like?
Is it still?
So depending on the area of licensure, a teacher can have, the shortest is a minimum, or is a maximum of 3 out-of-field placements over their career.
So it's on, by the teacher?
Yeah, it's by the teacher, it's not by the position. So we could have a position, in an ongoing basis if it was a hard-to-fill licensure area. It kind of depends, because like career tech ed, you have to do these applications, but there's no limit to the number of out-of-field placements somebody can get if they're looking for a CTE license. I think special ed is another one where the limits don't apply because they changed the science licensure a few years ago. Science is another one where it doesn't apply. But if, like you're an English teacher and you're on an OFP, that one you can only get 3 times during your career. And at that point, you can no longer be granted out-of-field placement. So it's something, it's not good practice for us to hire people with out-of-field placements. We do it because we have to fill positions, obviously. But as an educator, you've only got a limited number of those OFPs that you can apply for throughout your career, so.
Okay, thanks.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think interesting.
It's just as clear as mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
Well, thank you for that
Yeah, thanks for the
information.
explanation.
There's literally a flow chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim was
Oh,
giving a
very
class on that on Tuesday
I was
nights.
gonna say.
All right. Well, I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Randy.
Ronnie on the motion.
I'll second.
Jody on the second, and this is a resolution. Please take her away.
So can we just read the underline, look good?
That's correct.
Resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of out-of-field licensure and probationary teacher at the close of 2025-2026 school year. And I need yes or no vote.
Yes, 1 and 10.
Okay. Rondi?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Clinton?
Yes.
And myself is yes, and yourself?
Yes,
Perfect, take it.
ran out of names.
Sorry, I was looking right at you, I was like.
Turn your name tag the
Yeah,
other way.
for the next one.
All right. Item 4, consideration to approve the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a Tier 1 in probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year.
This is for Kathleen Ruana, and I recommend approval.
Do you want me to say names with these or no? You don't really need it?
No,
Alright, that's
I mean, I announced the
Okay.
name for this,
That's
we
fine.
just need the resolution.
Okay.
And what we have up here is the general letter that will go to each of those staff members.
I will look for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Luke on the motion, Jolyn on the second. And go ahead and take it away.
Resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a Tier 1 and probationary teacher at the close of the 2025-26 school year. Pete, I'll need a yes or no vote.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Clinton?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Item 5, consideration to approve the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of an out-of-field licensure and probationary teacher at the close of 25-26 school year.
And this is for Jade Franson, and I recommend approval.
I'll make a motion.
Pete on the
Second.
motion. Luke on the second. Clerk?
Resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of an out-of-field licensure and probationary teacher at the close of the 2025-26 school year. Rondi, any yes or no vote?
Before, yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Yes.
Clinton?
Yes.
And myself is yes.
Yes.
And Pete?
Item 6, consideration to approve the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of out-of-field licensure and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year.
This is for Erica Cleaver, and I recommend approval.
Use a motion.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Jolyn on the motion, Pete on the second. Clerk?
Resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of an out-of-field licensure and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year. Need a yes or no vote? Pete?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Clinton?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Rondi?
Yes.
Perfect.
Item 7, consideration to approve the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a one-year long-term substitute and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year.
This is for Amanda Burns, and I recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Luke on the motion.
I'll second.
Jody on the second. Clerk?
Resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a one-year long-term substitute and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year. Pete, any yes or no vote?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Clinton?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Rondi?
Yes.
Item 8, consideration to approve the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a one-year long-term substitute and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year.
This is for Madison Shanks, and I recommend approval.
Look for a motion.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Pete on the motion, Rondi on the second. Clerk?
Resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of a one-year long-term substitute and probationary teacher at the close of the 25-26 school year. I need a yes or no vote. Rondi?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Clinton?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
And myself is a yes.
All right, item number 9, consideration to approve the expansion of school readiness in Bomber Care. Reed, you gonna give a little presentation for us?
Yep, I think Jeff started.
Yeah, I'll start us here, just to kind of give you some background real quick. A couple years ago, one of our board members started bringing up concerns he was hearing in the community. I believe it was Luke. And that really kind of kick-started our process here, and this process got turned over to Community Ed, because it seemed like the best fit for that, to gather information. And Community Ed had conversations with not only their committee members, but they also ended up developing a survey to send out to the community as part of that process with engaging with the community to see where our needs were. And I believe you have daycare providers that sit in on that community advisory
Yep.
committee, Rondi,
Yep.
as well. And so there's that conversation piece and length there as well. And over that process, a survey was done, as most of us know, because the board did approve that process. And ultimately, the Community Ed Advisory Committee, at their last meeting, made a recommendation to the board to bring forward one plan, which is gonna be shared here tonight. I know we talked about having multiple plans, but between administration doing their work and bringing that information to the Community Ed Advisory, the Community Advisory saying, well, this is the best plan that we want to bring forth as a recommendation to the board. That's what's being presented here today. And so, some of the stuff we've already talked about just in that, but really, there's been countless meetings these past 2 weeks since the last board meeting. We are all on a united front with restructuring the preschool to allow for the expansion and flexible options for people in the community for school readiness and bomber care. School readiness, partnered with Bomber Care, does align with our community needs assessment survey, which is given out and showed, I believe, was 75% of the community was asking for something. And it also provides an opportunity for growth as the community develops. And we talked a lot about the housing developments that are going into the community. And hopefully with that providing growth in the community, this will allow us a better option to grow along with those housing developments. And finally, this does fit in with the performance goal that we have here this year, back in July. The performance goal that was approved by the board was to develop a plan that would monitor the needs of the community and allow the school district to expand in the area of early childhood learning and childcare as Cannon Falls continues to grow. It's very set up to grow right now. I do want to thank the community members who completed the community needs assessment survey. Their input was valuable. In revising the structure of what we currently offer to be more efficient, and it allows us the opportunity to expand and grow, which we mentioned before. It would be the two programs supporting each other with the readiness and the bomber care pieces. And it allows the support staff to lead the non-academic components of the day. Is this where I jump off?
Last slide was where you jumped off, but.
I'm sorry.
We're good here.
I'm sorry, I must have overstepped.
So, just important that they're set up
I
to
must have went
support
over
one
somebody.
another. Bomber Care, broke it down to be 33 months, which we currently don't offer that home for them during that school day, through the 5-year-olds, and must be potty trained. Care options through that day, again, it's that 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. portion where Bomber Care would exist. We are not doing anything with changing Cannon kids before school and after school. I know that has come up. We are not making any changes there whatsoever. This provides flexible care options for the families as it had come in the survey. Our Cannon kids staff, the current preschool paras, would shift over to lead the Bomber Care, and we continue to have those collaborative meetings here to finalize those fine-tuned details of what all Bomber Care would entail. Readiness will be 3 full-time preschool teachers teaching, morning and afternoon, half-day licensed instructional classes, focusing on 4-year-olds. I know specials is something that has continued to come up. We put an emphasis on trying to get those 4-year-olds into specials, which are currently the art, music, and the media specials. And again, a collaborative approach with those preschool teachers to finalize those details as to what that readiness would look like. Whether that's going to be an emphasis on 3-year-olds in the morning and 4-year-olds in the afternoon, or it would be a mix, all depending on what the group feels is going to be best. Katie, you want to talk about schedule?
As far as those two.
Yep.
So with the preschool schedule, you know, referring to it as readiness in the future. There'd be these, you know, like we had said, half-day options, and then there would be bomber care options. And we talked a lot about how readiness in itself, just being half a day, you know, having that component complemented with bomber care is important, so that way they can work together. So if there's items that, you know, our readiness program is working on, whether it's a certain concept, a social skill, a letter, a color, whatever it is, that can be, there can be activities that are carried over into bomber care. So bomber care can still do some of those things to keep the learning going. You know, we've been on the same page as far as we don't want bomber care to be, you know, they're not just sitting around, they're not watching movies, they're not just doing rest time. They're gonna be doing more things that would complement the schedule as well within readiness. So that's, I think, the biggest takeaway for me, is that I think these two programs can work well, complementing each other, you know, and working together in that regard.
So this is not like an extension of Canon Kids. This is an extension of, we're looking at doing it as the extension of readiness.
Yep. And I know we, like Reed had said, we've heard a lot from members of the board, yourself, and members from the Community Advisory Council about how specials is an important part. You know, it's a valuable thing to be within our preschool, you know, in the future readiness program. So that's something that we're gonna try to make sure that we can keep for those teachers within that readiness time.
That bottom part is just a potential mock schedule that Katie had put together of what that readiness block could look like. Katie, anything you want to share?
Obviously don't know like times and everything.
Right.
That's a general schedule of things that could happen in, sorry, I wanna say preschool, in a readiness room. So we try to take all the biggest parts of our day and put them into what a half day can do. I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's not going to be the same. It will be different next year. We will do our best to fit everything into a half day, but we won't get everything into a half day. But we do plan on, if we do this schedule, if Tammy is working in in bomber care, like I would talk to Tammy and say, we're working on this letter this week, this color, this number, whatever. And then Tammy would also be working on that in her afternoon time or morning time or whichever, however it's flip-flopped.
So this is it, and just clarification, is this in addition to preschool, or is this replacing preschool? The name, the readiness, that's kind of some of the questions I got. So is it still gonna be preschool, or is this in place of it?
Readiness is just a name that we settled on so that when we were discussing different models, that we knew what it is we were referencing.
So yes,
So
it's
yes.
replacing.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
The term readiness will replace.
Okay, preschool. Well, that's, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And preschool will still be offered 5 days a week?
Yep. It'd still be the.
Or the
two-
readiness.
Readiness.
No,
2 days, 3
Sorry.
days.
I had a question on, so I saw in this, the current paras are gonna own a portion of this, or be the lead, or the whatever we're gonna call them as, and it's probably poor timing, because Stephen just told us that the pipeline isn't there at Winona City anymore, but could there be a situation where we have student teachers that could, because I think some of the feedback I've gotten is they're, you know, if the paras aren't licensed teachers, what have you, is there an avenue where we could have some student teachers? Say we don't have enough paras hired or whatever, there's a shortage. Is there a way that we could put a student teacher into that?
Usually the student teachers need to be working under the supervision or in cooperation. It's referred to as the cooperating teacher. So, you know, even some of the teachers that are here, you know, they have elementary licenses, K through 6, and then they also have like an early childhood licensure,
Yep.
which might go like birth up through 3rd grade. They would be under the, again, the supervision or the cooperation of another teacher. So leading their own group, no.
Couldn't happen.
Not for student teachers, no.
Okay. I just thought maybe be a creative way to get
Yep.
someone that's in the, field.
There's a chance that, I mean, depending on how things fit within all the licensure and who's all in those rooms, if we were to have somebody licensed, we could have somebody working with them, which then means that they can work with students. For example, we have a student teacher right now who's elementary ed and early childhood, and somebody's going to be, she's with a first grade teacher right now, and she's gonna be with Katie Schroeder for 4 weeks. Is that right? Yeah. In another month, she's gonna be with Katie for 4 weeks, so.
Sure.
So there's some of those where they could be working together, but like doing their own thing, no.
Gotcha.
Just to address one comment during public input, I know we have one person in our community at advisory that is a daycare owner. Was there other daycares that did we discuss with them, have any, gather any input?
I know Stacy, remind me of her last name,
Thanks.
thanks, owns ABC. And she had brought up that same concern about finding staff, I think, in reference to Stephen too. I mean, we're gonna have problems finding staff, maybe, and then in turn, they're having problems finding staff. But she did say that's not a reason that she would advise us not to do it, just because the town needs it. And so she would love to collaborate and work together with us. That would just be, when asked about pain points and stuff, that would be a pain point for sure. But also, she said that's not enough to make them not stand behind this program.
I just had to, because I did bring this up, I don't know, a couple of years ago maybe, just because kind of things I heard in the community, but then it does bring me back to a year ago when we went to the city and met with the stakeholders of the community, right? The school was there, the chamber, the Rotary, business owners, and it was what does the future look like? And Laura Qualley led it and did a great job of here's representatives of our town and people that were in elected positions and whatnot, and we all went to separate groups and we identified things that were needed in Cannon Falls or were what we wanted for Cannon Falls, and so then she took all the results back together, and the number one, which was pretty cool, the number one thing that everybody felt needed to be done was passing a referendum, which we crossed that one off the list, which was good, and then the second one was increasing childcare. And so while it was something I brought up, and it wasn't just one of my crazy ideas, which I have a few of them, but I think that meeting kind of backed it up too in fact, so since that time, there's actually less care in Cannon Falls than there was a year ago because of some home, whatever. So the public comment, I think is very valid, but I do think, and then the survey was kind of the third way to back this up, that there is a need there. I hope we can work with our current care centers to make sure they're doing well too,
Yeah.
right? And hopefully population solves all that, right, where they need to keep, care for kids. But that meeting at the city was an eye-opener for me and kind of solidified that we should step up and do something. And, I do think we got to get this right. I think we got to trust the people that were in that committee and putting forward the information. And I appreciate all the work that has been done because I know it's been a lot.
We go over the spacing, that was one topic, how that's going to look down there.
Right now, we've got 3 classrooms in the C wing that Cannon Kids currently uses that we would be able to utilize to start Bomber Care. We could start that today if we had to in regards to those staff. Obviously, we'd have to backfill the preschool, what that looked like, but we could utilize those 3 classrooms right now in that space. With keeping our preschool in those 4 classrooms currently.
I think that is one of the concerns that we've been hearing about too, is just around displacing current staff. Is that, so you're saying there's 3 open rooms that we'd be able to leverage today?
Steve and I had talked before the last board meeting about the space of the C wing and current preschool rooms. And we have miscommunication of he thought that he was gonna be taking 2 of our current preschool readiness rooms, that was not what we were looking at. I think we could probably give up 1 of what that looked like with the 3 preschool teachers. But I think our goal moving forward would love to be that we could have the entire C wing for the Cannon kids and Bomber Care, depending on if we can figure out what those other programming spaces could look like. That would help. It'd help our community first and foremost. Where currently right now we are shutting down Cannon kids for a week once school ends for the summer, so that we could get classrooms packed up and cleaned up so that we could get started. And we're doing the same on the back end right before teacher workshop, sorry about that. Teacher workshop begins again as well. So if we could get to that point where we had that space, we would only have to close on the days that we need to do our annual trainings, which Tammy's prepared to speak to a little bit about. And then obviously those holidays that we'd be closed as well, but we'd minimize those days that we'd be closed for the community. And it would also help facility staff out in regards to they're not having to clean once and twice, going into summer and the back end of summer and packing and unpacking those spaces, and then mitigating Cannon kids as well. So I think, and obviously we start small with those 3 spaces, and as we start to grow, then we continue to discuss what that looks like and how we could create change.
Okay, thanks. So we feel we're on the right side of the staffing side. I mean, it's a legit concern, I think, across the board.
Right now, we have 5 contracts on that Cannon kids, and so we could go and take into those spaces for sure, and we would be able to maintain the 2 to 20.
Okay.
And utilizing 2 of those rooms right now, for sure.
So staffing's good.
And we feel like we traditionally, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but we traditionally have better luck, more success of people interested in working during the preschool day, the school year only, rather than the full year Cannon kids. So we would look to backfill those 3 positions into those 3 classrooms.
Okay.
When you say, starting small, I think that's very important to start small with a change like this. Do we have ideas in place that we would use for kind of monitoring as we go forward? Are we gonna survey current parents or survey the community again to see if, or is there anything as a board that we can do to kind of make sure that we're not going backwards? I know that's been a concern for a lot of people.
Evaluations of some kind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Met with Stephen and Katie today of just talking about, if the board is supportive of this schedule moving forward, and now it's the fine detail planning really needs to begin, because we really need to launch our registrations in the first week of March. We need to get going on that. And we talked about our collaborative approach with the preschool teachers of what those readiness rooms would look like. Then we also need to have that collaborative approach of what data do we want, what benchmarks are we going to put, so that we're all on the same page of what that data can look like, so that we can track that. So here's what we're doing well, here's what we don't need to change, here's what we need to expand on, this is not working, we need to make those changes.
Yeah,
So, absolutely.
or working with kindergarten teachers or something to make sure that, we're not losing subjects or anything like that, with program changes or anything like that. I think that would be important.
Probably. Go ahead, sir.
We've got a good veteran preschool staff too, and teachers throughout the year need to create their goals, based on, and in preschool a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it letters of the alphabet and letters of your name? And so that could be a data point that we could look at moving forward, is how does this moving forward compared to years past? Is it the same, is it better, is it worse? Like Reed said, a year from now, we can, even less than a year from now, we can start continuously analyzing what works, what doesn't work, because there's going to be a lot of things that will work, and there are going to be some hiccups, but we can analyze those things, and we got some at least pieces of data that we can look to see, other than just anecdotally what's working and not working,
Yeah.
but we can actually have some data points based
Okay.
on that too.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest things. We all said that in the beginning, that we didn't want to take a step back educational-wise. And so just making sure that we're doing our best to be on top of that. There's obviously going to be growing pains, there's going to be some ups or some downs, and I think, us evaluating it and working through these kinks and having really excellent communication between preschool teachers to the, you know, the Bomber staff and stuff like that, and going forward and making sure that the kids are getting what the kids need, to the best of our abilities and stuff, and evaluating that as we go along, to see if there needs to be adjustments. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Are they looking at full day, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday for full days at some point down the line for?
We talked about that, maybe being an option for the 4-year-old, that I would say that it's settled in our last several meetings here of, let's start small and
Okay.
get going. But could certainly be something for consideration of offering maybe a 4-year-old full day next year, of what that could look like.
On the next slide, we have some examples of what some other schools are doing, and there's one other school that is going to be attempting that. So it'll be interesting to see how things go for them.
Yeah.
I think one thing, just because it has been mentioned, that I'd like to keep an eye on is probably behaviors, you know, as they go from preschool to kindergarten, and what that looks like. Is there a difference? Is there, you know, I think, you know, I think it's important because, I mean, obviously through COVID, we saw behaviors become challenging, I think, and if this looks different or feels different, I just want to make sure we're squashing it when we can.
Want to go to the financial tab?
While Jeff's pulling that up, I mean, for community ed, you guys feel ready to take it on? I mean, it's another adder to you guys' plate. You feel you have the right amount of staff to help support that from community ed?
That's what the community wants.
Yeah.
And maybe I missed this, but do we have someone that's gonna own this? Like, is, you know, from a day-to-day standpoint, like, you know, I don't know if it's Katie, like, I recognize a problem here, and then I'm gonna bring it to Reed or whatever it is, like.
Somebody down at that
We would
building
have
is the
a
go-to.
presence in Bomber Care
Yeah.
down there, yes.
Okay. And will that be an additional position or
Potentially.
added to, or?
Potentially.
Okay.
We want a presence from Readiness in Bomber Care, but not a physical presence. from
Okay,
Readiness. We want kind of the letter is continue to be the common example of what that looks like, and here's what some supporting activities of what Bomber Care could be doing in those placements. But yes, we would definitely have a presence to help with leading that out to those staff in there, but also helping deal with those behaviors.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Maybe you'll get to this with registration, but will they register for 2 different events? Like when you say we got open registration, so we get a number.
I think our goal, as of right now, our intent as of right now is that it would be 2 separate registrations. Maybe down the line in years, whatever, 3, 4, it becomes 1 registration. You know, I think the data and the growth of the programs will dictate what that is, but very much right now, it will be 2.
Okay, 1 through school, 1 through community. Got it. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Josh, you want to walk us through this slide?
Yeah, so there's, asked to put together some financial information on the current preschool model. On the left-hand side, there would be the cost or the expense for the preschool program on the staffing, teacher and para's salary and benefits. So this year is budgeted for $464,000. The first section there on the right then would be preschool revenue, so it's a tuition-based program. And it takes the daily attendance for those 4 classrooms, the full and the halftime. And you end up working out to an average daily revenue of about $2,272 a day. So if you multiply that by the contracted student days or the scheduled school days, 174, estimated about $395,000 in revenue based on the current enrollment. Meaning that for this year, about $70,000 loss in preschool. Now where we make up for that difference is it's subsidized really by the general fund and by Canon Kids. Benefits for health and dental are coded to general fund, and then the remaining balance would be covered with Canon Kids revenue out of the community ed budget. It's all within the community ed fund. So then I kind of put in the next section there is given the current kind of method, there's usually 2 spots left open in each classroom, so there's really 18 possible enrollments in a class. So 72 if they're all full-time enrollments. The average revenue would be about $450,000. Still would be operating at a loss under that model if it was at full capacity, given leaving 2 classes open. The last then would be if we were to fully enroll 20 per class with the revenue now you're at 500,000, and that's where the point where the preschool program under the current model would finally break even and make a little money. So that's just kind of the financial portion of the current model of how it's staffed and enrolled. There are 2 other tabs there. The next one is kind of important, the ADM history. It goes back to 1990-91 because obviously that was a very great year. But it shows also how long I've been out from high school. The 3 lines there, the red line is the ADM of the total district residents in Cannon Falls School District. The bottom line, the blue line, is be the resident ADM that attends the school district. And the gray line in the middle is what the school is funded on ADMs. So in the mid-90s, we're over 1,600 ADMs, or average daily membership, 1,600 students in the district. Towards now, we're around 1,100 students ADM. You also see where the red and the blue lines are getting further and further apart, and that's really based on the number of options we now have for students, whether it be online, whether it be open enrollment, post-secondary, all those items. So I think really when it kind of goes back and ties all these things together, whether it be survey or anecdotally, how do we keep students in the district? What are kind of options that we can do to help provide opportunities for families to maybe get their kiddos into school, at that young age? Historically, if you were in the building in preschool, kindergarten, you're probably going to stay unless your families are moving for other situations. But it also shows at one point we did have 1,600 bodies in this district, and there's maybe some room for growth, obviously, as well, on how do we keep those students here. Now, obviously, we know too, families aren't having as many kids, and it's an aging community and all those things too that will kind of contribute to the number of kids. But I think it just kind of shows the historical kind of ADM of the district, and maybe how we can maybe capture some more. The last button really is only for really number geeks, because it's just all the numbers that flow into that graph. So if you want to show it, it just shows where we're at the 1,600 and how it slowly declines to now we're under 1,000 or 1,100 people, ADMs. The graph is much prettier.
Yeah, like you kind of touched on, Luke and I went to a breakout session when we were at MSBA up in the cities, and that was one of the big factors that the school that we listened to, they started this program in their school, and they said that was one of the biggest things, is that it helped get butts in seats. Because it opened up, like you said, a new avenue where a lot of times if a kid is here for preschool or kindergarten, you tend to stick around, right? If a parent is working in Hastings, but we don't have daycare option down here or something, so they'll take the kid up to Hastings to go to daycare, and next thing you know, now they're like, well, now they've made friends up here, they might as well go to school up here, I might as well keep transporting them. Whereas if we can change that and we can turn that around, it'll help us in the long run, it'll help the community in the long run, and so.
I'll go to the last tab. Tab, you just want to talk about the other schools surrounding comparison?
So I contacted some of the surrounding schools. Some of them are just information from online, but it kind of shows you what they're offering. And if you look at most of this, of their tabs, most of them do the school readiness with a child care, either in the morning or afternoon. The only one Jolene had said that is trying the all-day preschool, and this would be for the 26-27 school year, is Cass and Manorville is the only one that's going to, they're gonna try one classroom, limited space for just 4-year-olds, full day. And most of them are 2.5 to 3 hours, all surrounding us. So I did all the way up to Farmington, Goodhue, Northfield. Red Wing has 2 programs, but the second one, the Little Wingers, might be changing to be doing a school readiness starting next year. Goodhue, Zumbrota. So that's kind of what we were able to figure out and put into a chart for you guys.
Red Wing actually has a survey out right now, and I think Stephen spoke to that a little bit, because you're in that district. And
Yep. They've got, their Kids Junction is mainly child care. And then they've got the Little Wingers, which they've got a variety of preschool type of things, but Little Wingers is their main preschool component through the school. And they're looking at, similar to what we're doing, is just sending out a survey and then figuring out what does the community want and how can they make it work. Whether they can do something similar but have them work together better, or whether they can offer more childcare options, or whether they can, they even have a couple questions down there about transportation. So they're just looking at trying to make it better, just like we are.
And as for staff who are running that, you have down here in this column, it just says DHS standards. Do you know by chance what kind of staff that they have that are, like, what kind of licensure or what kind of
So for the
rough
child
idea?
care part, the Bomber Cannon Kids or Bomber Care, we have the state come out once a year and we get relicensed. So everybody that is in high school staff, college kids, or the 5 full-time, myself, Bree, Jeff, we all have to go through a DHS background check and be fingerprinted every 5 years. And then we have certain trainings, and we can increase trainings. We do have to have 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours of training every year, and our high schoolers and college kids do this every summer. That's part of the training where we're closed for a week, is to do all of this. We do child development, health and safety, mandated reporting, CPR, first aid, head trauma, and I also work with once a month with other child care programs and to see what new trainings they're doing or videos and stuff to add to ours as well. So we do in person. We have in the past used our behavior specialists for de-escalation for high schools and college, our staff basically to do, so, which we can always continue that, but everybody has to go through the same trainings every year, so, and we usually she's usually here once, maybe twice, the state is, so. And that's for the child care part and the
Our
readiness.
preschool is underneath their child care too, like, so we all have to do the fingerprinting and all of that too, the background check, all of that. Underneath their license. And that's how we get like our 4-star Parent Aware is underneath their licensing, and that helps us use scholarships and get, different things that way.
So for me, I see that, the way I feel is that we have 2 options. You have one option of keeping everything the exact same, and you ignore the survey from the community that 75% of people feel that we have a need. Or you go through with what is proposed right here. And the reason why I feel that way is just adding the Bomber Care portion, I don't feel that we have a good enough idea of how many people are gonna sign up, and that there will be enough money that comes in to support that. And I would have a very tough time talking to any of our taxpayers and saying that they are supplementing childcare. And now if we're providing something for the community and it's self-sufficient, we don't need to make money, because I think we've made it clear before on different community topics that we're not in the business to make money, but as long, they need to be able to pay for themselves. And so the option that's presented to us would be what is presented to us. And I sat through 3 hours of meetings last week. First one was 2 hours. That was with administration and staff that created the plan. And then I sat for an hour at the community ed advisory meeting the following day. And the one question I asked, and I said it quite clear, is that I'm not going to be supportive of this unless absolutely everyone in the room is supportive of this. and if anyone has any doubts, that they need to speak. And everyone needs to be in unison. And everyone was. So that is my piece.
I'm just gonna add on to it, I know the struggle is real for parents, and I think it's needed. So, because I'm like, I have a niece in another district, and she struggles with daycare. So wasn't able to get to that point yet until they were at a certain age, so.
Yeah, and the one thing, I guess, if I was gonna make a recommendation, I would do this on, that we look at doing a renewal process after a year. And then that would force us to come back, and then we're gonna have data.
Yep.
And we're gonna know, what works, what doesn't work. Hopefully it doesn't come to this, but was a complete disaster and we gotta go a different way, that's what we have to do. But if you're gonna ask me, what I would recommend is coming back in January of next year and looking at renewals or making changes. Obviously, as a board, we can come back at any single time and we can change different things, but at least this forces something to be put on the agenda that has to get brought up, and that we can discuss it. And I'd like to do that in January, because I know that the goal is that we want to get registration out before conferences, which I believe.
Now.
Well, we could easily pull it up here, but it's sometime middle of February for next year.
Yeah.
And so that would give us enough time in administration to propose necessary changes if needed. And then I feel like, even though, yes, this is a change, let's take it slow, and by adding this one piece, and see if we can make it work. So.
Yeah, I like that idea of revisiting in a year. I also would hope that community ed would continue to, meet on this, right? Just to check in and make sure things are going smoothly as we go through that process. And I think, we can iron out a lot of those things as we go here, and, change is hard at times, but we could see the benefit here pretty clearly too for the community, and I think I do like the idea of forcing us to revisit it in a year's time.
And then I think we want to keep tabs on Castle Manorville if they're going to a full day on the floor, year-old, just to see how that's going, what the challenges are of that, and so if we can potentially get back to the point where we could offer a full day and keep that full, that's something that we could do.
Yep, and I will say, having been at those community ed meetings, the representative that runs the CASN program, she is usually in regular attendance of those meetings too. And so I think it's a good idea to check in with her and see how as they're, heading up starting a whole new section. It'd be interesting to see what those pain points are, and maybe we could not experience those pain points if we wanted to add those full day back in.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, I think, I like your point, Clinton. I think that, I agree. I'll echo that. I sat through those same meetings. Everyone was on a united front. Everyone agreed that this is needed. I don't think it's not gonna come without pain points, and so I think a January revisit is needed. So I will make a motion to add school readiness and bomber care to our programming with a January board revisit. If we can get that added to the January agenda, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Rondi with the motion with the January revisit for, we'll call it a renewal. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jody on the second. Any other discussion? I'll just say thank you to everyone involved with this. I know that there was many hours of meetings on that. So thank you for everyone putting the time into this. And I know that there's going to be a lot more time coming up on this as everything gets finalized. So thank you to everyone involved on that. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Good discussion, everyone. Item number 10, consideration to approve the Goodhue County American Dairy Association scholarship of $1,000.
This is a new scholarship given by the Goodhue County American Dairy Association that I took on here for $1,000.
You need some milk?
What? I don't know what's going on with me, but we are looking for board approval on this, so that we can get this ready for the seniors. And we do thank the Goodhue County American Dairy Association for offering this.
Is this I didn't see this part of it. Is this a ongoing deal, or 1 year? Do we know?
Are they going to continue it for multiple years? Is that what you're asking?
Doesn't matter,
Doesn't
really. I'm
appear to
more curious than
say.
anything.
It doesn't say.
We'll take it for 1 year and go from there.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I would assume it's-
I'll second.
We don't have to have. Eat on the motion.
Good enough.
Joe went on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, before we go into a closed session, I just want to do, we'll do a quick around the horn. Let's keep it to a minute or less, please. Share any good news or anything that you would like to share. Reed, we're going to start off with you.
Good luck to Bombers in postseason play.
All right. Mr. Hodges.
Lots of great things coming from our students. Like Lily said, Amy Fick is nationally recognized for her article. We've got the 6 students that are being commended by the College Board. We've got kids going to state. We're doing all kinds of great things.
Exciting stuff.
Thank you. Mr. Strauss.
Just 2 quick shout outs. 2 people both actually in this room. One to Stephen Johnson. Rondi had mentioned that, you know, Ed Foundation's looking at potentially making a donation, and PTO has already donated a little bit of money for playground improvements, renovations in the back. Stephen has done the vast majority of that work behind the scenes, so I want to thank him for that, and also that you all know that the work that he's been doing on that, because it's been a lot. And the second one is to Katie Quinlan sitting behind me, all the meetings that she's been through with this, along with still maintaining all of her teaching and preparing and coordinating for our current preschool programming. She's been awesome throughout all of this.
It's 1 foot too.
I couldn't do it on Tuesday.
Just you wait till tomorrow.
Stephen Johnson.
It's getting nicer out, so say. That's a little bit better thing. Yeah, I don't know, the district's awesome. The teachers that are outside with the blistering cold every day with our elementary kids, walking them up and from there. And I pride myself on walking down there in the morning and in the nighttime. And it does suck. It's horrible. So for those teachers to go out there, and I know it's not willingly all the time, right? But for them to do that every day and, you know, just help those kids get up that hill, really, you know, and get on the buses and, you know, better themselves for the morning or the afternoon that's really great about our district, and I love that. I love high-fiving those kids every day, you know, no matter if we're cold or not, it's happening. So, yeah, there's one.
Thanks. Josh.
I think things are going pretty well. I'd like to invite everybody out to come to the game on Thursday, 7 o'clock. We host PEM for boys basketball. The live stream is nice, but way better to be inside the gym. Student section was awesome on Friday. It'd be nice to fill it again on Thursday.
Tammy, you want to add anything?
I got to be in preschool last week, so that was kind of fun to go down and hang out with the little kids since I'm up here a lot with the big kids, so it was kind of fun, refreshing.
Lily, anything you want to add?
It's only half a day of school tomorrow.
I get it.
You can stay longer.
You can come hang out with me in the afternoon if you want to. No?
Superintendent for a day is what I heard.
Pete?
Fun and exciting to hear all the fun and positive things that are going on in the district. The work coming up here, looking forward to spring as well. I unfortunately have a full day of work tomorrow, so. But yeah, the carnival was a blast. Luke, you touched on it a little bit earlier. It got a lot of rave reviews and well attended, a lot of fun activities. So nice job for the team that put that on.
Thank you. Joellen?
Like people mentioned, we have conferences coming up, so great appreciation to the teachers that stick around and do their dinner time with everybody for conferences.
Because teachers do not have a half of a day.
They do not. And a huge shout out to those PTO folks and those parents that support them to provide meals for those teachers, to feed them dinner during conferences when they are there for a very lengthy day. So this week and next week.
Thank you. Jeff?
Huge thank yous to Reed, Stephen, Katie, Josh, and Tammy for getting all this information prepared in a very short amount of time for the readiness of Bomber Care. Also for Tim and Stephen Johnson for their work in getting that career fair ready. I hope all you guys can make it out there and see that. It's a wonderful event every year. And then I think that is it.
I'll just say for me, I survived alumni. I think that was year 22, so I'm proud of myself.
Don't hurt your arm, man.
Yeah.
Luke?
I'd just add, again, it's already been said, but I love seeing our facilities being used and full of students, whether it's a basketball game or weekend CFY stuff. I think it's a great way to showcase what we have. You know, I do a lot of coaching in the youth and a lot of going to watch volleyball games and stuff at other facilities, and including this weekend I was at a facility that was about an hour away that just doesn't hold a candle to what we can not only offer, but what it looks like, what it feels like when you're here. And it makes me so proud when we can host those things. It's just so well done. And a lot of it is the groups, you know, the CFYs of the world that have a well-oiled machine going, but the school opens the doors to those folks, and I think that's important as this community goes forward.
Jody?
I probably should have said this sooner, but we haven't had this too long, so. I was at a staff development meeting, and I just want to praise the teachers and staff for all they do. They do way more than I ever imagined they do when it comes to the readiness and prepping of everything that they have to do for licensures and stuff.
Robbie?
I'm going to say, although I'm very proud to be a Bomber, very proud of Cannon Falls, I'm also proud of the USA. I can't believe no one talked about the Olympics and the gold medals that we've been receiving and the cool stories. If you have watched any Olympics or if you haven't, I would encourage you to do some things because there's some fun stuff going on for the USA.
All right.
It does be short.
We were efficient.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everyone coming here. We are going to go into a closed session right now. After we're done with our discussion item, once we come back in, we are just going to go right to adjournment. So thank you for everyone coming. I will kindly ask you to leave.